All right, perfect. So my name's Victoria. Everyone calls me Vicky, Coach Vicky, either or. I grew up here in Los Lunas, graduated from Los Lunas High School, 2006. Go Tigers. Let's see, my journey through fitness kind of started young. I had to pick an elective in middle school and they had a weightlifting class. And that was easy. So I'm not gonna lie, I was like, click, done. But I actually liked it. It felt really good to be able to move. Through middle school, high school, I did cheer, dance, really liked group activities, and realized that I need peer pressure to make me try harder. So I definitely thrived in those spaces where I could be with people that made me feel like I could do and be my best. Let's see, I went from high school, went into college as a single mom. So young and single and trying to navigate college. That was a journey. Met someone, thought it was the love of my life. It wasn't because it wasn't Tyler. So throw that in there. And so that didn't work out. And literally the week of my nursing school finals, I am filing divorce paperwork for myself and trying to do it all on my own, trying to like, what does that look like? How to divide property, all those things, right? So was able to do that, finish my finals, graduate with my associate's degree. So I was like, yay, I made it, right? One more hurdle and I did it. I went from, let's see, then I went and got a job in the real world, full-time working at one of the hospitals here. And I went back right into school because I figured I should get my bachelor's. They were going to pay for it. So I was going to take that opportunity. So I did full-time working in the hospital and I did full-time school. And then for some reason I was like, oh, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition because that seems like a good idea. So I had school and full-time work and my child and bodybuilding. And through the craziness and the busyness, I actually really enjoyed being able to give myself that time to carve out time and create it for myself. So what did that mean for me? That meant 4 a.m. workouts because I had to be in the hospital at 7 in the morning. So I'd go work out. And one of my many memberships, because I had a lot of them, I'll admit, was at Anytime Fitness because they actually were open all the time. So one of my, I think she was my prep coach at the time, was like, go there because that was my excuse. The gym doesn't, open at 4 in the morning and I have to be at work. And she was like, Anytime Fitness will be open for you. And I was like, oh. So there I go, working, the kid, school, bodybuilding, did 3 back-to-back shows. And on this side, I got here's the fruits of my labor. I was able to score in top 5 for all 3 shows. This fancy one here that was a very interesting show. It was a more like glitzy glam. And I thought I was going to do great at that competition because I was going to be Voldemort. Because I was like, I love Star Wars and I'm Voldemort. That's Harry Potter. Darth Vader. I was like, no, that doesn't work. So I was Darth Vader and I was so excited. And I was like, people are gonna like resonate. Not exactly. People wanted the like Victoria's Secret angels and mind you, we're in bikinis and we're walking around. But I thought, how cool would it be to see Darth Vader? So that was me. That's the kind of person I am, where I was like, no. So anyway, did that, was able to see how like fitness and nutrition paired together. That was the first time in my life where I realized, oh, this is what I was missing. This is the difference between just going to the gym and kind of doing what I think I need to do and getting on the treadmill and trying, to do some lifting. But then when structure came into my life, I realized that was the key to getting to where I wanted to be. Let's see. So going there, and then as you guys know, Tyler and I were like, oh, this is cool because he did it too. And we were like, let's open a gym. And so here we are. And so I stay still in the background because I still really enjoy being a nurse and I don't want to give that up. So I get to do that, but I also really, really love this space and groups and nutrition, and it all just like makes me feel good. And I try to help people at the hospital too, like my coworkers. They don't listen very well though. I'm a wellness champion there and they don't always listen. So I get to do that to try and help people there, like my coworkers, with wellness, fitness, nutrition. And then I just joined the color guard for the nursing. We had a color guard for nursing. I didn't know that. So I get to go. They're going to give me the dress and a cape and a hat. So I'm very excited that I get to do that. Not excited because I think we go to like funerals and stuff like that. Well, that's just life. That's circle of life. Anyways, so that's me. I'm here, I'm there, but I'm definitely very passionate and really love being able to share this with you guys and experience life with you, right? Because it's not just sorry, I don't want to cry, but life is hard. And sorry guys for crying. Life is hard, and like you get in here and like you didn't feel like being here. And you came here anyway. And you got bad news the day before. or you have something coming up that isn't good. And like, you have to work through that. You have to work through divorces. You have to work through layoffs. You have to work through injury, illness, death, other family members. So it's hard, and we get to be here together. And so I get to do that with you. So lastly, I was in here and I think you guys got to see me a bit more. And then I injured my back. And it was like a combination. I did spin and, my work, 40 hours of doing my kind of work. And then I did heavy spinning for like 2 hours straight. So a lot of just like bend, sit. And then I moved to piano. Who knows what it is. But I got a herniated disc, and that took me out for about 2 years. So it was tough because this is where I found like my happy place. And I'm like really grateful that I'm better and I'm here and I'm working through it. And it's really inspiring, honestly, to see all of you, because I know I'm not the only one hurting. I'm not the only one who's had these things. And so it really is wonderful to come, share our stories, be with each other, and then say, depending on what your body feels like, if it feels like you can do a little bit more and you saw someone do it and you're like, oh, I'm going to try that. And so that motivation that we get together is really, really important as well. So I commend you all for being here, for trying and for showing up for yourself, because that is one of the hardest things us as humans can do, is show up for you. All right. All right. So now going into nutrition. Our life revolves around people, experiences, culture, religion, and food. We need it to live, and there's also ways that we interact with food. There can be really great ways, right? On one end of the spectrum, we celebrate with each other, and we show each other we love each other with food. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where we might overeat to try and find or fill the void that we're trying to compensate for. Also, so there's like an overindulging, a potential binging, and that kind of comes back around to hurt us. And so food is definitely there, and it is the substance to keep us alive. And then there's two paths. What are you going to fuel yourself with? And that's going to be kind of the underlying tone of what we talk about today. Food is fuel. And I never want you guys to be scared to eat, because carbs has such a bad rap, right? It's like, just don't eat that bread and you'll be good. Just don't have cheese on it and you'll be fine. But it's like 80-20 meat, right? And so there's so much more to food, and there's a lot of fear and stigmatism behind different types of food, and they're all very important. And so every time we here at Anytime approach food, we always want to do it in a way to where we empower you, because that's going to make you able to make better choices. And it's not just going to be this quick fad where you came in, you only ate chicken and rice and lost your weight, but like, you actually know how to eat. You're actually making choices so that you can take that back. And not only you're going to do better for it, but your family, your spouses, your kids. And the tricky part is creating traditions and relationships with food that incorporate that healthy tie. Because there's so many ties already created around enchiladas and tamales and pozole, and they're so wonderful, right? And so there is levels. There's levels to food. There's levels to how it interacts with us in our life. And so through our conversations over the phone, through seminars, always trying to empower you so you have something to walk away with. And that is knowing more on how to specifically fuel your body. Because again, your body might be different than the person next to you. And those are things that one-on-one, when we do have those conversations, we can talk about. Oh, okay, you decided to eat tuna all week. How did it go? Oh, it didn't go good. All right, let's not do that. So your guys' feedback is really, really important. And that's where asking the questions, how did it go? What did you eat? How did that make you feel? What were your workouts like that week? All of those are indicators. And I'm like a detective, listening and thinking, did that help you, or did it just leave you kind of at a plateau? So that being said, we're here, we're learning about our foods, and there's always this ever-changing door where we try to improve how we ate, like the day before the day to moving forward, because there's always going to be mistakes that happen, and we just have to wake up and try again. So going back to the core of things, food is our fuel. So I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions that go along with that tone. All right. I'm going to give you guys the hard ones, because I believe in you. All right. Oh my gosh. All right, so these are all true or false questions, and in the chat, if you'd like to drop a T or an F, I'll be able to see that in there. So question number 1, clean eating means you have to eat organic food only. Anyone say true? Sure. All right, very nice. And in the chat, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for putting that F. False, yes. So clean eating focuses on wholly minimally processed foods, not labels like organic. So we are trying to get our nutrients from the food itself. So if you've ever talked to me about protein and we're thinking about protein snacks, a lot of times I'll tell you guys what meat you like, dice it up, make that your snack. Because if we can get it from our food, that whole source, our body's naturally going to absorb it better and utilize it better. So that's where we want to make sure that we're choosing the right kinds of food. Let's see. And the gimmick out there is like organic is better, but the tomatoes that don't say organic are going to help you. Just probably going to the farmer's market. Actually, wanted you guys to know, just across the street on Tuesdays, the farmer's market, to come in, they got your veggies. That's also a great way to support our community and get our from locally sourced places. All right, number 2. Again, true or false? One of the goals of clean eating is to fuel your body with the best possible building blocks. True? Yeah. One of the goals of clean eating is to fuel your body with the best possible building blocks. True. Yeah. Yeah. They tried to trick you guys. They're like, wait, where's the trick there? No, like, all right, so that is very true. So again, our food choices are going to be super important in that space. What we choose to eat are the building blocks to imagine your body like a house. And so if you're choosing building blocks that are a little bit cheaper, that don't provide the stability that your body needs, that your house needs, you're going to have a weaker house. And when we look at our food, and you guys all have your plans, that food list gives you lean protein, which is going to be higher protein content with lower fat. And so that's going to be essential to help fuel you in the right direction. So that building block, that protein is going to be one of the most important building blocks. And the protein you choose is going to help determine what you look like. Because there's protein in ribs, right? Like, I can't deny that, but is eating the ribs with a higher fat content, how is that material in our body? How is that going to help us? It's actually going to allow us to create and store more fat. And so we got to choose our building block. Oh no, you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Right. Well, and that's how, not just protein, but as we keep going, you'll realize the foods that we choose are just like our carbs and our fats and our vegetables are just as important. They are going to help us create the house that we want. And usually this house, we want it strong, because it's not always just about looks and losing weight and this and that. Sometimes we want better hip flexibility and we want better core stability. And so all of those things actually wrap up into the same thing. It's what you eat. So next question. True or false? Eating clean means you should avoid all carbs. Very nice. Yes, carbs are our friend. Nice. Thank you, Jordan. Yes, false. Tyler, you don't get credit. I love carbs. Yes. Yeah. Carbs are great, right? All right. So just like you wouldn't build your house out of cardboard, the carbs that you choose are also, they're going to help give you the fuel that you need for the day. Carbs give us the energy. So we do want to make sure that we're giving our body that so that it has it, so you can do the things you need to do that day. And apparently some of us around here are doing 3 workouts a day. So I hope you're eating your carbs, right? But, and on our food list, it's going to show us the kind of carbs that are going to support a better glycemic index and create the ability and the space for our body to use that material and not just store it. All right. Next. Oh. Okay. Number 4, eating clean is about eating food in their most natural or unprocessed state. True or false? Yeah, very true. So the fewer steps that we have from the ground to our table, the better. So that's why, again, the farmer's market across the street is going to be a great option. Getting our fruits and vegetables into our diet. Sometimes, you know, we can go through our day and realize, oh shoot, I haven't eaten vegetables in like a couple of days, right? Our body will definitely tell us, we'll get back up. And so those things, it's really easy to miss. And those are things that we have to be a little more aware and conscious of so that we give our body not just the carbs that it needs, but there's also antioxidants in those things, especially from like our berries and things like that. So there's other essentials that we need to make sure we give our body. All right. Okay, if you eat clean, you should feel guilty about having a treat. All right, very nice. To have a treat.
Oh, treat. I think it's a treat. Okay.
You're like, who is eating a treat? You feel guilty. It happens, right? It happens, especially with the way that we talk about food. There's another thing that people do. There's like labels out there where people have said, oh gosh, I think Amber just kind of mentioned this the other day. We were talking about food and she said, instead of a cheat meal, let's call it an indulgent or like an indulgence, right? We did something that we intentionally did. This is what we ate. Whereas cheat meal, it's a little like it has a negative light to it, which can then make us feel ashamed, and then put us into a negative cycle. And we don't want negative cycles with our food. We want to have a healthy relationship with food where it's, if you messed up or if whatever you ate and you enjoyed it for that moment, then how do we create balance for the rest of the day to support the treat, the indulgence that we did? So again, the other tone is not just the building blocks and picking the right ones, but also creating balance with what we pick. All right, next question. Oh, yeah, okay. Food is just fuel and there is no emotional or cultural connection to it. True or false? False, right? So we were just talking about that earlier. Traditions, religions, it all ties in together. And that's why nutrition really is one of the hardest things for us to tackle because there's so many ties attached to it. That love, your auntie is like, I love you so much. I made you cookies, eat them, right? And it's like, oh, auntie, oh, I'm trying to bring my cholesterol down. Yeah. Yeah, so it is. It's a struggle, and then we have generations around us where that's how they grew up, and that's what they did to show their love. And so it is a hard space to be in, and it's something that we have to be aware and cognizant of, so that we can try and create new ties with our family. And I think in December, where's Sal? Is Sal here? Oh, Jim. I just remember him. His face popped out. In December, we talked about, he and I role played in a nutrition seminar on how to talk to his auntie to tell her no thank you for food or something.
Sal's on
Anyway,
call.
great. Huh?
Sal's online. Sal's online.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sal, do you remember that? We role played, we were pretending. Oh, I think it's still on mute. Anyway, so those are things to be aware of. Those are the hiccups that we're going to experience in life. So be aware of that. And it's going to happen because we have family and relationships and traditions. And so navigating those is where having it so that we can work through those together and also find that balance, right? Maybe we do want to enjoy those cookies because she may not be around all the time. And so that might be a moment that you want to share with her. So then we find that balance. What does that breakfast look like so that we can have that and still be able to enjoy our time with our family? All right, next question. Eating clean means choosing food that give you steady energy, not sugar crashes. Fruit. All right, these all kind of sound like no-brainers. Yeah, you guys are doing pretty good. All right, very nice. Thank you, Mike, in the chat. Thank you. Yes. All right, so steady energy, what does that mean? That a lot of times we're going to pair that in with our complex carbs. So that's where picking the right carb so that we get the right building block for our house is going to be important. And compared to something that might have a little bit more sugar, like if we decide to do a drink for breakfast, that increase in sugar spikes our insulin, drops us right down, right? And our body is this well-oiled machine that tries its best to compensate. And sometimes we might be able to do that and swing that. But as we get older, we need to support our body more so that we give it the things it needs, so that we stay mobile, we stay strong, and that we increase our strength because we end up losing it. So we do have to work to support our body more as time goes on. Okay, so for question number 8, eating clean requires cutting out entire food groups. True or false? False. All right. I know some people have been like, I just want to do keto. No offense to keto. I've done it. I tested my pee. That's the way you do real keto. And you got to like track it and all that good stuff. But it's not sustainable. It's a tool that we can use. If you were ever curious, we can absolutely do it. I can walk you right through it. We can walk through fasting. We can walk through a lower carb diet if that's what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, my job, my responsibility is to make sure that you understand how to put things together, how we might need to reintroduce carbs or fats back into your diet, because it's a tool that kind of works. There's science behind it. It works for people, but it's not sustainable. Balance in our life is ultimately what we need to try and work for, and creating the balance by picking the foods that are going to support our body the best. All right, let's see. Eating clean is a flexible framework and not a strict set of rules. True or false? True. Okay. Yep. So it's all about making choices and creating that balance, right? That we like, just like we've been talking about. And then last question. Your coach Vicky believes eating clean is about progress and not perfection. True or false? Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have those moments where we don't show up for ourselves, where we chose the wrong thing. You will never hear that was you'll never hear a lecture from me. I don't know about Amber or Tyler. If you guys are on, you guys let me know. But just but at the end of the day, we're human, and it's more my greatest focus is how do we move forward? Okay, that happened. And thank you for telling me, right? That's a vulnerable place to be where you shared like, yeah, I had 2 pieces of cake. I think that's the first step that you can do with finding where we can do better. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not happy you had cake. But I'm like, all right, well, so are you having more cravings? Like, what are we doing here? Like, is there maybe we can fix that with something else, right? And so it's always it's never perfect. And so I just want you guys to know that. I'm glad you guys know that. That wraps up my questions. Thank you guys for participating. The last thing I want to just leave you guys off with this week is make sure that you're fueling your body. If you're doing those workouts, and even if you're just increasing your workouts by one more, you make sure that you're giving yourself the protein and the carbs that you need, dependent, either before or after, so that you're fueling your body and you are giving it the building blocks that their bodies have. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you.